Hello again. Okay, so last time we talked about the choice number 1 for your project or the probability unit. Now we're going to go over choice number 2. So choice number 1 was to make a Google Slides set of all the notes from the unit. Choice 2 is to make a spreadsheet that does basically the same thing, only it does the calculations for you. So I started one here just to get it so it wouldn't take so long. So okay, so this is my little title page. I changed the name of the little thing, if we could get it down here. Anyway, down here at the bottom, X. There we go. Down here at the bottom, you have your worksheets. When you open a new Google Sheet or Excel, you just have one worksheet down here. So I renamed it title, put probability unit calculations, the topics we're going to go over. And then for each of these topics, you would have a new sheet. So you would just click the plus sign, add new sheets as you go. So for the Venn diagram, for instance, you would, okay, so this was people taking chemistry or physics or both. Okay, I'm going to erase this and do this again. So you would want to picture like an illustration. You could do this by hand, but I'm going to just draw it because we can. So what I would do is insert drawing, and then I'm going to wait for it to open up. And then I'm going to, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to insert a shape. I want a rectangle. And then I'm going to add some circles. One circle, ha, ha, ha. I'm going to change the background color. You could make it transparent. I'm going to make it white just to kind of be able to see. Since the background is blue, we could make that a different color too. Okay, I'm going to add another one. If you do this in Paint, you can usually do a better job of filling in the different things, like the parts where they overlap. This one I'm going to make transparent so I can see the overlapping part. So this part right here. Okay, so now I'm going to add text in there. So this out here is neither. This right here is both. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put an arrow, or I'm just going to put it in. Let's see. I'm going to spin it around and put it right here. There we go. And then for right now, I'm using chemistry and physics, but I'm just going to put A and B because maybe you're not using chemistry or physics. So I'm going to put A right here. And I'm going to put B over here. Okay. Then I'm going to save and close. That's going to insert it into my Google Sheets. I'm going to click on this and move it over because it's way over there. Ta-da. Okay. So now we have that. So what you might do is you might put over here, you might put a label like A or B for chemistry and physics. Maybe I'll do that. So A, chemistry, B, physics. And then you have both, neither. Okay, so these would be your inputs right here. Normally when I have inputs, I always do them a different color. It's totally up to you. I just like doing that so that then I know where my inputs are. Okay. So let's say you asked a bunch of people at lunch, 25 of them were taking chemistry, 13 were taking physics. 25 were only taking chemistry, 13 were only taking physics, 5 of them were taking both, and 21 were taking neither of those two. So then what we do after that is first off, we need to find the total. So we have to add all of those up. So we want these people plus these people plus these people plus these people out here. So we want to account for all of them. So if we add them up, this is our total. Then from there, we can do probabilities. So I could even put probabilities. I'm going to merge, center it, and I'm going to put probabilities. Those are our calculations. Oh, okay, they did not merge. Merge. There we go. Okay, and I could put them bold. I might underline it. I might, whatever you want. So, okay, probability of chemistry only. I would go equals. I would click on chemistry, divided by total, enter. That gives me that. Right next to it, I want percent. So I'm gonna put. Usually I would label these things, but that's okay. I'm gonna just put a percent sign off to the side. That way I know. But okay, so I would take this one and I would multiply it by 100. That changes it to percent. I would do the same thing for probability of neither, probability of physics, probability of both. You would list them all right here. So this is your Venn diagram section. So the next section on our title page, we had tree diagrams. So you would want to insert that, and you would want to kind of do the same thing, but it would be a little different because it's a tree. Then the weighted tree, and remember when you do the probabilities of weighted trees, you have to multiply the individual weights. And then I wanted to show you Pascal's triangle because it's a little different and kind of weird. So, okay. So with Pascal's triangle, remember it's like the 1 and then the 1, 1 and then the 1, 2, 1. It's just like this triangle that gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So what I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight a whole bunch of these things, these columns, and I'm going to resize them. So I'm going to right click, resize. And I'm going to make them a width of 60, right? 30. Right now they're 64. I'm going to make them smaller. Okay, so notice I shrink these down. And then when we were doing the Pascal's triangle in class, remember the very first row is like your start point, and it gets a 1. And then what we were doing then is we had tries, like the number of tries, and total. So our first try, and I can go ahead and label those 1, 2, 3, 4, however many. And you probably, if you're going to do much more than this, you're probably going to have to add some more columns because it gets it takes up space real quick. Okay, so our first try, remember that was a 1 and a 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go equals sum, and I'm going to highlight my entire row. Even though there's nothing in those other pieces, I'm going to do that because when I want to add up the other ones, I can click and drag. I don't have to add things in. Okay, next row for try number 2. So remember we go out 1. We add these 2 together, right? So 1 plus 1 is 2. And then we go out. If you wanted to, you could even go equals this plus this. Let's do that. So equals this plus this. Okay. Column number 3, I start out here. Equals this plus this. Equals this plus this. And I end up with a 1. And then for try number 4, I start with a 1. I'm going to see if this works. I've never tried this. I'm going to go Control C, Control V, and let's see. It did. So it takes the 1 on either side. So now I'm going to do this, Control V. This, Control V. This is a 1. And then for try number 5, I'm going to start it with a 1. I'm going to go Control V, Control V. And notice it's adding it for me, so I don't have to worry about making mistakes because I'm not accidentally forgetting to add something. And then row 6, same thing. Start with a 1. Control V, Control V. All the way across. There we go. Okay. So notice there are a couple different patterns that you see here, which is really kind of neat. So notice how first off, it all starts with a 1. Your second number in it ends up being the number of tries you're on, right? So we're on try number 2, second number in is a 2. Try number 3, second number in is a 3. Try number 4, second is 4. So it increases. So that'll tell you what try you're on, which is neat. Okay, so here I have that equals from B all the way to N. So I'm going to do that all the way down. I'm just going to click and drag, and it should add all the way up. Okay, so now what we have is those are our totals. And if we want to calculate probabilities, we can do that. First, I would put a title up here. I would merge and center. I would put Pascal's triangle. And then you could do probability. So probability, so in line 3, or for 3 tries. So probability of 0. Remember, it starts from the left, it goes to the right, so that would be equals this one divided by the total. Probability of 1, and probably, maybe I would do the probabilities out here, or, yeah, just because these are kind of small. So it yeah, kind of chops off your number, but okay. Or you could merge and center these like that. You could do that too. Probability of 1. And that would be equals, so 0, 1, so it would be this one, divided by 8. And you would just go down the line, probability of 0, probability of 1, probability of 2, probability of 3. And you could pick any of the lines to do that for. I would probably definitely do it for the last one for sure, but then I would pick one in the middle somewhere too. That way it just shows that you know that you're taking whatever position and you're doing that over the total number that we have over here. So this is our Pascal's triangle. Then you have the probability rules. You'll make it calculate this stuff for probability. But basically, whatever you have here, so we have all our topics, and you're going to need a sheet for each one of those, and you'll show how to do that. You'll do the calculations. So this is your option 2 on the project.